Thanks for joining us for a summary of our report on the BC Government's 2015-16 public accounts. Each year, we conduct the largest financial audit in British Columbia, looking at the financial information of all the ministries, crown corporations, and other organizations that are accountable to the provincial government. This year, the audit encompassed over 140 entities and took 70 staff in our office just over 40,000 hours to complete. It also required extra help from 26 private sector auditing firms. At the end of the audit, we issue an opinion on whether government's summary financial statements are fairly presented and in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. Government published our audit opinion in its public accounts in July 2016. We've issued today's report to highlight and explain certain complex aspects of government's financial statements and draw you to the wealth of information the statements contain. We have again this year differed with government on how it records funding it receives from the federal government. The BC government's reported revenue for 2015-16 was $47.6 billion, and its reported expenses were $46.9 billion. This means that government has recorded a surplus for the year of about $700 million. However, we disagree with this amount, but more significantly with the impact on the accumulated surplus. The provincial government records revenue from the federal government for capital assets, like hospitals and highways, over the life of the asset. Assets like hospitals and highways have a long lifespan, so in some cases government spreads out the total revenue over many years. This is not in line with Canadian public sector accounting standards, and so government has inappropriately deferred billions of dollars in revenue. Public sector accounting standards require that governments record this type of revenue from other levels of government for new assets over the period that the funds are received, or over the period the asset is constructed, and not over the entire lifespan of the asset. In 2014-15, we said that government's annual surplus should have been higher by $191 million, and even though the difference for 2015-16 is only $3 million, government has now deferred a total of $4.2 billion in revenue. In our view, the reported accumulated surplus of $3.4 billion should therefore be $7.6 billion. The other component to this report is the interesting story beyond the bottom line of the province's financial health and performance. This section begins on page 17 of our report. For example, the report talks about government's contractual obligations, which are included as a note in the financial statements and correctly not recorded as debt. There are contracts for BC Ferry services, policing, and electricity purchases from independent power producers. Some of these commitments are for a few years, and some are for over 50 years. Notably, BC's contractual obligations total $101 billion. This is the highest of all the provinces, nearly rivaling the federal government's commitments of approximately $150 billion. The report also mentions other transactions that government made last year. For example, the purchase of coal licenses for $18 million, the sale of assets, which earned $372 million, advance rate setting agreements, which allows government to lock in interest costs on borrowing, and last year's creation of the Forest Enhancement Society of British Columbia, which received $85 million in funding. The report also talks about other areas like the need for better information on planned versus actual results in government's reporting, the nature of estimates and assumptions in the financial statements, and revenue from the BC Lottery Corporation. That's our summary for today. Thanks for joining us, and to read this report and others, or for more information about our office, please visit our website at www.bcauditor.com.